tell you a little story. Last night at about 10 o'clock or so, we had an incredible young man, 22 years old, member of our church for about 2 years, died last night. Suddenly, he's a Laotian young man and comes from a Buddhist family. All of his family is Buddhist. And Chad Collins, Travis's brother, met this young man. He didn't meet him because he was a pastor. Had nothing to do with that. He didn't meet him in church. He met him outside of church. Not working as a pastor, put on my job and work as a pastor. No, by working as a Christian. Met him outside of the church, befriended this young man. 22-year-old, and they became very close, and Chad began to pour into his life, and eventually this young man gave his heart to Jesus Christ. He was redeemed. He was saved. Lived with Chad for a while. It was a great young man, great dude. Loved the dude. His entire family are Buddhist. Entire family are Buddhist. He contracted something, don't know, but ended up in pneumonia, had to be in a medically induced coma, and last night his heart gave out and he died. Chad, a lot of our staff was at the hospital. He's been going to our Murfreesboro campus. They were all at the hospital. All these Buddhists everywhere. Chad, his mom fainted, and Chad had to pick her up, put her in a wheelchair, and wheel her down the hall, and they were ministering to the family. And here's what I want you to know. That young man, at this very moment, he wouldn't come back here if he could, because he's in the presence of Jesus. He's in heaven. He's worshiping. He's like, don't feel sorry for me. I mean, we're thinking 22-year-old. But that young man said, he is in heaven. He is with Jesus right now, folks. We know that. We don't hope that. We know that. He's in heaven. Why? Because a pastor preached a sermon? No. Because a Christian understood it was about living sent in every domain of life. Met this guy outside of church, befriended him, and he became a Christian. Every member's a minister. Every member's a minister. Every member's a minister. Chad is not satisfied with where he is spiritually. But man, like Paul, he can say, I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied that my life is being spent, bringing people to obedience to Jesus. There's nothing you can do. You can make millions and millions of dollars. And I talk to people all the time who have made it wealthy. You can make millions of dollars. You can live in the finest house in the area. You can drive the greatest cars and have the name on the door. And I promise you, your life will be junk without Jesus. And you'll know it in your heart. None of it will matter. None of it. But you can have all that, or you can have nothing. And you get up every day and say, my goal is God's glory. And I promise you, your life's going to have something. You're going to have hope, peace, joy, satisfaction. My goal, God's glory. I just got a text between services. Jordan going, Kyle's daughter sent me a text. His sister texted Chad this morning. Darren's sister that died last night texted Chad, Buddhist young lady. Texted Chad, said, you know what, my brother's Bible was in my car. It's marked up. I don't even know how it got in my car. And she told Chad, but I want to read this and I want to study more what it's about. Isn't that amazing? My goal, God's glory. One day, folks, we're all going to stand before God. And I want to present to God a group of people, not converts, not people who claim cultural Christianity. I want to present a group of people that have surrendered to Jesus, yes, been baptized, yes, joined the church, yes. But it's so much more than that. They gave their life to the very cause of Christ and said, my goal, God's glory. I want to hear God say, well done, good and faithful servant. And it's not going to be anything to do with how many people we had come into our church. It's not going to be anything to do with the number of people who signed up and we never saw them again. It's going to have everything to do with whether I got up every day and said, my goal, God's glory. And I realized I'm a minister. I'm a minister. I'm not in charge of what he does with it. I'm just in charge of being obedient. Will you will you? Every member's a minister. If you want to talk to us about coming to know Jesus, if you want to talk to us about anything, we're back in the back. Who you inviting in your Invite 5 campaign? Who you investing in? Who you praying for to come to know Jesus Christ? Who's your daring? Because one day they'll die too. Hopefully it'll be a long time from now, but one day they will. One day they will. You need to live with that awareness. Who's your daring?